Hey, Scarefest, this is Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly, and my son has gotten into werewolves. So I asked somebody about werewolves, and then somebody I didn't even ask said, "Oh, you've got to watch this werewolf film." Now, they recommended a movie I hadn't seen that came out in 2024, The Wolf of Snow Holler. Actually, it's Wolf of Snow Hollow, but I'm from a holler, so it's written and directed and stars Jim Cummings. And unless you're Orson Welles and sometimes George Clooney, you should never be the writer, director, and star. However, this is not a terrible movie, and it does have a pretty good cast. It has Ricky Lindome, you know her from a comedy team when she was in. Robert Forster, the late great character actor, he plays the dad of the marshal or the sheriff. It doesn't matter. And basically, it's a small town, and what happens is that this police officer, played by Jim Cummings, the writer director, he is an addict. He's divorced. He doesn't get along with his teenage daughter. Blah 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 blah. He's overcome with emotions and problems, and there is a werewolf killing people. Or do we think it's a werewolf? Not going to give out too much. That is one of my problems of the explanation of how it happens, but he's really stressed out. He's having struggles. His dad is getting sick, and he's not able really. His dad's the main lead sheriff, and he's not able to really do what he used to be able to do. This movie's kind of like a comedy horror film in the sense of American Werewolf in London. It just doesn't land that well on all of it. And some scenes will work really well, and then they don't quite fit in with the rest of the movie. Is it here? Is it here? I enjoyed the movie. I actually think the werewolf in it looks great. But for example, the movie will completely stop and do a long shot, dolly shot, in on a character with nothing going on that takes up 2 or 3 minutes. It doesn't add anything, and then the character you see is clearly going to die. It doesn't build the suspense, it doesn't get you more invested in it. But Robert Forster's great in it. Jim Cummings, the writer director, is good in scenes. And then in other scenes, it's just way too, his manic energy is way too over the top. It's a slightly miscast with the lead character. Also, the payoff, not terrible. And like I said, the movie does have a really cool looking werewolf. I just wish they had more of it. It's so hard to do werewolf films because they're basically just Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? Somebody is pretending, somebody has an alternate id. The id is coming out, and that's what's happening. That's all werewolf films are, right? There's just Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And it's just the werewolves either look cool and tear you apart or they don't look cool. This werewolf looks awesome. But the explanation of it and all that, I mean, I actually had to ask somebody, go back and read a little bit more. Not quite that I didn't understand it. It just, I don't think they do a very good job. It's okay. I'm terrible at giving stars. So if I would say 4 stars, I'd say two, 2.5. I said 10 stars, I'd say 5 or 6. If you like werewolves and you haven't watched a werewolf film, and because there's not a ton of good ones out there, this one's mediocre, okay. I didn't dislike it. I actually enjoy it. And the parts where Robert Forster, the late great Robert Forster character actor, fantastic. Some of the fun where Ricky Landham, and she's a comedian, look her up, Ricky Lindham, sorry. She's fantastic in her scenes. Some of the other ones are great. It's just overall kind of an uneven movie. I enjoyed parts of it, but that being said, any movie called The Wolf of Snow Holler, Wolf of Snow Hollow, can't be all that bad. And it really isn't. Just not something I highly recommend. So if you have it and you can find it streaming for free, check out The Wolf of Snow Hollow. And it's only about an hour and 23 minutes. Check out Wolf of Snow Hollow. This has been Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly. Werewolves in a holler. I should write that.